Well, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to my Ford Transit Campervan Build. And this episode I'm going to be installing a Victron Blue Smart charger. So I hadn't originally planned to add a charger to the system, and I'm not technically going to be installing it in the sense of it's the equivalent of a electrical hookup on a site. I'm not going to be using like a 3-pin like electrical hookup plug. I'm more going to use it so when I'm in the driveway I could plug the leisure batteries in with an extension cord from the house, which I know technically you're not meant to do, as it's meant to be grounded, I think, and I'm sure I'll get abuse in the comments for it. The other reason I'm installing this is I have flattened my Transit's, the main battery in this, quite a few times now, which means I've got to jump it, and I don't want to jump it directly off those because when I don't have really long jump leads. But what I'm going to do is I've thought, well, normally I would use this to charge the leisure batteries from a wall socket, but if I flatten the van's battery in the middle of nowhere, I could just plug the 3-pin British plug into the inverter, and then the charger on that, I can plug that into the van's main battery and it will charge it, because at the end of the day I'm pretty sure that charger doesn't care where its 240 volt power is coming from and what battery it's going to. That's really only going to be for emergency situations, charging the van's main battery, but that's going to be my little backup plan if I ever flatten the van's battery. So let's get it installed. Bit of anatomy of the unit. It's got a mode button. This plate comes off. This is the one output option. You can get 3 outputs as well, and that's the fuse as well. That's effectively it. It's also the Bluetooth, so I can connect to it on the phone, and like most of the Victron equipment, and configure it that way as well. To make the swapping between the leisure system and the van's main battery convenient and easy, I'm going to be using these Anderson connectors. So I'm going to have one of these for the leisure system, one of these for the main battery, and then just one of these plugs coming off the charger, and all I would do is just plug it in and that would charge that system. Once when you've got the lugs in, they lock into each other. And the other one, if I wanted to charge the van's main battery, I would just take it out and plug it in that one. That's the plan. So a sort of quick, easy connect system. Right, that's the unit actually in. So start with these connectors. So I've gone for 10mm cable, as it's only 30 amp charger, and this 10 mils about 70 amps, so plenty of it. So for charging it, I'm going to connect one of these connectors to the end and then mount the connector, and that's going to go to the positive and the negative bus bar. And then for the main battery one, I'm just going to tap into the cables I ran from the back of from the battery at the front to the DC to DC charger. Something I would also mention is with the using it for the main battery in the van, I'm not jump starting the vehicle. I'm not trying to get the charger to have enough power to turn the engine over. I'm using the charger to give the battery enough power, so when I try and start the vehicle, the battery has enough power to start the engine, not jump start the van itself, which if you can get things like jump start packs to do that, but I'd be buying another bit of equipment, and I thought if I got this anyway for charging this, it's not too hard just to set up a few connectors, so I could also plug in the van's main battery if I wanted to. So for tapping into the 16mm cable for the main battery, I'm just going to cut it and then use a 25mm splice connector, putting the 16 and the 10 into it and then crimping it down, and that should be sufficient for tapping into it for the 10mm wire. Now I've already got a length of cable coming from the starter battery to the DC to DC charger, which is in the cupboard over there, so I've basically just piggybacked off it. The way I've piggybacked off that is I've cut the cable, and then I've used a splice connector, and I've just used a 25mm splice connector, putting the 10mm and the 16mm, which is originally there, and then that just joins up to the original cable leading to the front. There's probably other ways of doing it, but that seems perfectly adequate for what I need. Opposed to running an entire length of new cable, which doesn't really seem too necessary. And it's done for the negative as well, but it's just at the back and you can't see it. Here's another example of an unnecessary flare. That's going to be leisure system, that's going to be main battery. This can be on a wire at the top, and you can just plug it into which one you want. So let's get the wiring up done. So for these come with little lugs, and then just crimp on the end, of same as we've done with a lot of the other bits of the wire. As these cables are not as flexible as the thicker ones, I've just found that just heating them up for a minute or two just flexes the sheath a wee bit. This makes it a little bit easier to get it into position on that tight radius. Right, it's time to connect up the system, so I'm just going to turn all the appliances off, solar off, main isolator off, and I'll wire up the rest of the system. Right, got the plate mounted, they'll get labelled up. I decided not to run these through here just because these wires are stiff and these connections are actually really hard work to get undone. So I'm going to go purchase a handle for these. Oh, they're a bit easier now. So I'm going to get these connected up. Take off this. As I'd rather any movement on that wire isn't moving the anchor points, I'm just going to put a little P-clip in below it. Some slightly more flexible wire would be nice. And if I need to charge the engine, I can put it in the other one. So, let's plug it into the van one, and let's turn everything back on again. Right, the system's in. I've just got it plugged into the leisure system in a minute, and we're just going to plug it into an extension cord and test it out. Lights have come on, it's saying bulk, so let's have a look to see what's going on the Victron app. Blue charger. Got to update it as usual. Update failed, jolly good. Right, let's try it on 4G. So I'm going to change this. So this on its default mode, even for lithium, is about 14.7 volts or around that. And my lithium batteries really don't like that high voltage. It really starts the cells to wander quite greatly in their balance between each other. So I'm going to just put it to the same settings I use for my DC to DC and my solar charger. So I need to test my emergency start system because the van battery is currently flat anyway. So the van battery, according to the DC to DC charger, is, let's have a look, 8.7 volts. So yeah, engine's definitely not going to start. So I'm going to plug it into the van, and I'm going to plug this into the inverter and turn this on, and hopefully this should start charging the van's battery off the inverter. So load wise, that's a 1200 VA inverter, and it's showing about 1/3, which is what I would have thought it would have been, being 30 amp. Charging system is currently in bulk, putting out 30 amp at 13.7. My worry was that the DC to DC charger might turn itself on, thinking that the engine was running, but I think it's going to. I've got it set that the engine voltage, which the DC to DC charger recognises is on, is going to be lower than the voltage which that charger would give out. It shows the DC to DC charger. Hopefully this hasn't turned on. Yeah, this isn't turned on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it for like 10 minutes, and hopefully that should put enough charge into the engine for it to start. and to power a 30 amp charger off the inverter is currently costing 36 amps. I'll just show you what's going on in the different things. So that's the shunt going through the leisure system, and since the inverter goes through the leisure system, that's the current ampage being used. And I think from the looks of it, the DC to DC charger is expecting 14 volts for the engine to turn on, for the DC to DC charger to turn on. It's at 13.7. The inverter is currently running at a third of its load capacity. The charger is currently in bulk charge mode. So let's go see if the engine will start. That's probably not long enough to charge it, but almost. Oh, we'll turn that back on and leave it for a few more minutes. But it coughed a few times. It didn't quite fire. Well, first attempt. Well, it was the van was so flat that when I turned the ignition, nothing happened. I had a flicker of lights on the dashboard, followed by, but no like engine turning over crank. So let's have a look. There we go. Well, that works. This is off, so this can get unplugged from here. This can get unplugged from here. And I'm just going to plug this one in here though. Temporarily, because I did obviously use quite a bit of ampage to start to charge the van battery. So that pretty much sums up this episode. Just installing the charger and making it unnecessarily complicated, but fixing an issue of how I can start the van if I flatten the battery itself. I'm sure there could have been other ways to do it, where I could have used really long jump leads. But I need really long jump leads, and I wanted this unit anyway so I could charge the van when I'm parked up at someone's house, and just doing a few extra connections so I can charge the actual van's main battery if I needed to seems like a good option to me. So I've had the battery charger in for a few weeks now, and if I'm honest, adding that emergency charging option for the van's main battery off the inverter, which was a whim to do, actually has been brilliant. As I've flattened the van battery a few times whilst I was away, whilst I've been here at my parents' driveway, because having the van unlocked all day whilst I'm working on it, it seems to do a really good job at flattening the battery. I think something in the van still, like the van's computer still awake, and that over the time of a couple of days will flatten the battery when I'm not driving it anywhere. So adding that charging spot has been brilliant. I also found that you can just leave the charger plugged in whilst you're trying to start it, because it's a charger, it's only giving out 30 amps. If that's just not enough energy already put into the battery, it's just not going to turn over. It doesn't seem to have blown any fuses or anything like that. And I want to reiterate that this is not how you would do an EHU or an electrical hookup point for a caravan site. Just having that in there and plug it into an extension lead is not an acceptable way of doing it. I'm doing it here because this is my parents' house, but it's not a method you can use on a campervan site at all. To do it properly, you need to have an external port. Well, I don't know if the port has to be external exactly. And then that needs to be earthed to the van chassis, and then some other bits and bobs of equipment, which I'm not fully keyed up on what they all are at the moment in time. But the main point of that is if you somehow damage one of those wires and that came in contact with the metal of the van, you don't want to electrify the van with 240 volts, as in that could be very bad for your health. And the idea of when you do it properly, that should prevent, or if that fault ever happens, the equipment you put in should stop that, because the van's bodywork becoming live and potentially, well, killing you or someone else. I am going to probably do that in the future, not the killing myself with electricity, but the installing a proper electrical hookup point, because I think it will be quite a useful feature. I don't really plan to be at campsites very often or at all. I plan to be wild camping all the time, but the option will be there to do it sort of correctly. Yeah, that's pretty much going to sum up this video. So once again, thank you very much for joining me. If you have any questions, find me on Instagram and shoot them over there, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.